Hi, my name's Tiffany. I'm an education team designer for swirlydoos.com. I will have a link below to the website, and I'm going to get started, and we are going to play around with the September technique kit. It's really fun this month. Very new to me, but I played around with it and got familiar with it, so I'm able to share with you guys a few techniques. And it's really neat. It's this ice resin, and you can do so much stuff with it. So I'm going to share with you what I did first, and then we'll get to making some cool little things. So first thing I did was I used it on this flower that comes in the technique kit. It looks really neat, almost like clay. It's very hard. It's not going to smush or anything, so it hardens it and gives it like a really neat look. So that is one thing. The next thing I did was I played around with some of the papers that come in the kit, and as you could see, it kind of gives it like a gloss. It kind of makes the paper transparent, kind of breaks down the fibers. So it's really neat. Okay, so, and then this one is two papers layered together. I wanted to see if I can get some of that image from the pattern paper kind of peeking through this top layer. You could see it just a little bit, but not as much as I had hoped for. But, you know, if you had the project in your hands, then you'll be able to see. So that is that. And then I also made a little charm. So you get two of these frames in the kit, and then a bunch of these little like clock gears and all this fun little things in this little little tube here. And I just kind of just took a few in my fingers and spread them around there. I'll share exactly what I did, but and I used some of this paper in the background, so you could see that in the back. Okay, I'm going to use these items in a project that I will share with you. First thing I want to say is you're going to need a craft mat, or if you don't have a craft mat, you can also use just a grocery bag, like a like a white grocery bag, and just cut it and then place it onto your desk. And the next thing is it recommends that you use gloves, but I am not going to use gloves. I can't craft with gloves or anything on, so just if you don't use gloves, just wash your hands, don't touch your eyes, try not to get it on your clothes, try to keep your fingers out directly from the resin. Okay, next thing is I used half of the resin yesterday, and I was worried that it was going to dry up, but I used some masking tape to kind of tape it down, and it works perfect, so it's going to work. So you can play around a little bit. I didn't want to use it all and then mess up and totally ruin my video here, but so we're gonna get started. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your little cup that comes in the kit. You have a little popsicle stick, which you're gonna stir, and you also have a you can use like a kitchen sponge, or what comes in the kit is this little foam paintbrush. Okay, so now that I'm going to use the rest, I'm just going to snip off the tops. So I only snipped off halfway. Okay, and then you're going to press down, squeezing it all out into your little cup here. Okay, and this makes it really cool because you do need half what is it, resin, and then half hardener, I think it is. So it makes it easy for you that it's equal parts already. Okay, next you're going to take your popsicle stick and you are going to stir for 2 minutes. Okay, I'm going to set this aside, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this little charm here. You can use this on jewelry, mixed media projects, scrapbook layouts, card, whatever you want to use it on. Nice embellishment. Okay, so looks like it's double-sided, which I didn't know that. Okay, so that's pretty neat. So what I'm going to do is, I want some of this paper in the back. I'm going to take the paper, put it over. I want this really, the larger script. Okay, and then I'm just going to press down with my fingernail along the edges. And it's circle, so it's going to be easy to kind of get the shape of the charm here. Okay, so after you've cut out your paper to fit inside the charm, at this point, if you're using a picture or something that you hand drawn, something that you want to preserve basically, you're going to use some Mod Podge and kind of coat it a couple times, couple layers of Mod Podge to make sure that it's coated very, very well. Okay, and then you will take the Mod Podge, going to take it and just put a layer on the bottom. I'm not going to use the Mod Podge on top of my paper. I want it to kind of get this transparent look. Okay, so just gonna take the Mod Podge, and then now I'm going to just slide in my paper here. I'm going to smooth it down. And make sure that there's no bubbles underneath. Okay, and at this point I am going to take some of these really neat little, they're like little screws and little gears and stuff. They're really neat. So I found that these ones, like the little screws, are too big for these. It pops up in my other charm. So I'm going to use this diamond here, or this little bling. Hopefully, I think it's going to be too big. Okay, so we'll use the gears. And a couple of those. So when you have all of your little metal pieces where you want them, you're going to take your mixture and just give it one last little stir since it's been sitting there for a little bit. And you can use this up to 45 minutes after you've mixed it together. So it gives you a lot of time to get your projects done. Okay, so I am going to drizzle it on. Okay, so it's perfect. Okay, and then once it starts drying, you're gonna start seeing like these little bubbles. After it's probably, you want to say about maybe 20 minutes or so, you're going to want to check it, and then you can poke out all the little bubbles with a little needle or whatever. Okay, so we're going to set this aside to dry. That's it. It's so easy. And then what I'm going to do next is I am working on a project, and I'll show you here. I'm making this plaque, and I want this to kind of cover some of this pattern paper with it peeking through, with this kind of, you know, this, I think they're calling it glass paper, ice resin paper, but I want it to kind of go over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of try to place how I want it here so I don't have to use too much, you know, of that resin. I'm going to snip off the bottom here. I'm not going to be using that. Alright, and I can always come back and cut more if I want to cut more. Okay, I'm going to take the brush, okay, and your work surface is going to be dry. Your brush is going to be dry. And I'm going to kind of drizzle a little bit here and there onto the paper here. And then I'm going to just brush it on. You don't want too much, you know, of a layer. Just want a thin coat. Okay. And you can always stamp with some StazOn on, you know, the paper, and if you don't have all this cool paper, then you can make your own paper, vellum, and, you know, inks and stamps and all that stuff. So make sure it's evenly coated. Then what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over and do the other side. The back side all coated. You're going to carefully peel it up, okay, because I want this side to be the front, and whatever side you want up, you know, if you don't want texture, then you need to smooth it back out, and I don't want texture. Want to let it dry for I'm gonna say about 12 to 24 hours depending. Okay, so we have all of our items that we used the resin on, and they're all dried, as you could see. It's really neat what it does to the paper, and I've already shown this one, but the flower, it's really neat. And then here, oh, here is the charm that I made, or the embellishment that I made with the paper, and then the little findings in there. Really neat. I did end up getting a couple little bubbles, which I did want to tell you that I think I did, but after about 25 minutes or so, you're going to want to poke out the bubbles. But I should have came back a little bit, maybe 20 minutes after that, and looked to see, but I didn't. So, but yeah, so it's nice and hard. It's, you know, not going nowhere. I could do the other side if I was going to be doing some jewelry, which it would be really nice, but I'm not. I'm going to use this on a project.